So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the actor who played Billy in the original Scream movie and had a presence in Scream 5 and Sis was talking about what the idea of Scream 7 would have been. Now, he said they don't know if the current script was going to be still using that idea when it came to the writers, but I really love what he was talking about here. We would say, the story idea for Scream 7 would have been the end of the Carpenter sisters, like the end of their storyline, like the end of Sam's storyline of that duality, of having that dark side, like a father Billy. And I would have loved to have seen the clues on that story arc because I think Scream 6 ends in a way where it's open ending, where you see her drop the mask at the ground at the end of Scream 6. And you could say, well, that concluded her storyline, saying, well, that's her like not becoming the killer like her father. But you also have that moment before she drops the mask of her looking at it and touching the mask like she's drawn to it. So I also think you left it kind of open there where you could have done one more movie with these sisters and explored that whole storyline of her like becoming a serial killer and her having to struggle with that duality of the character. Because I love the Carpenter sister characters. I think they like I love Scream 5 and 6 and I felt like they brought a fresh new perspective to the franchise because I love the original trilogy. I love Cindy, Gail, and Dewey. I love those original characters. But I did love the fact that Sam felt like a different character than Cindy. Like I like the fact that they just didn't try to make a cardboard copy of Cindy, of Nate Campbell's character. I like the fact, like I said, that Sam was different. That this was a character that had a bit of a darkness to her. And I said in a past video, look, I'm not gonna talk about like the political side of her being fired when it came to a treat. I'm just gonna say like I said in my past video, I don't think she's owed to be fired. And as a fan of Scream 5 and 6, you love those two movies and really love those sister characters and the core four characters. I would have liked to have seen the end of that story arc to see how it would have ended. Would she have completely gone to the dark side and become a killer? Because I think the idea of her becoming a killer and the fact that in Scream 5 and 6, you see her enjoy the killing part of it. Like, she's about to let the main killer at the end of Scream 6 go, and then she decides to kill him for messing with messing with her and her sister. So I just think oh man, there was so much, in my opinion, juicy stuff for one more movie, and the fact that it was planned as a 3-movie arc, and we're never gonna get the ending of that story arc, it just sucks. I think for me personally, I didn't need to hit pause on Scream 7, and I'll just wait a while to like do a new Scream movie. Like the idea of like there's rumors going around it with the idea that maybe they're trying to get the actress Dave Campbell to come back as Sydney and bring back the guy who played the cop in Scream 3 because they referenced in Scream 5 that she's with that character and they have a kid. And yeah, that would get me interested in Scream 7 again. But I think the fact that you lost your main lead of Scream 5 and 6, and I would say Jenna Ortega's character Taylor, who's the second lead of those movies, and not having all the core four together, I think you do need to hit pause on Scream 7. But it just, like I said, acting play Billy, it just sucks to hear what the idea of Scream 7 would have been. And, I always get disappointed in the fact that when you get really into a storyline in a franchise and you don't get to see the conclusion of it, it just sucks to hear that. So, it just, as a fan, as a big Scream fan who did love Scream 5 and 6, I felt like that kind of bond energy back into the franchise because I wasn't really high on Scream 4. Like, that was fine, but it didn't, I didn't love it as much as the original trilogy. And this could have ended up being, Scream 5, 6, and 7, if they stuck with the sister storyline, this could have ended up being one of my favorite horror trilogies. But we'll never know now. So that just sucks to hear. The next thing I want to talk about is that Madam Web took a 61% drop off in the second week. Now, I haven't seen Madam Web. At some point, I'm going to watch it on a streaming service. Like, I don't have any interest, personally, in watching it in theaters because I wasn't really all that excited for the movie. And the fact it's being kind of, like, pretty much panned right now. I mean, the fact it took a 61% drop off in the second week and didn't make a whole lot of money, I'm not surprised by that. Surprised by that. The movie didn't have a big opening. And yeah, the movie only cost $80, but I think I saw reports that it actually cost $100, and plus you got to add on the marketing with that. I know the movie has like a China release coming up, but I don't think it's gonna do well in China. But adding on all of that, the marketing, Plus, the reports saying the movie might be 100. I think it's made like 83, 87 right now. I just this movie's just crashing and boning money wise at the box office, and I just do not see this movie, especially with Dune Part 2. I want to talk about that in a little bit coming out. I think Madame Web's done for at the box office. And it's a movie that's been panned. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it, so I'll judge for myself whether I'm going to end up thinking it's as bad as everybody else is, or I think it's okay, or maybe I end up loving it when I watch it. But critically, it has like a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics. And even the audience score, last I checked, was in the 50s, which was split. So even the audience score isn't really that great either on the Rotten Tomatoes with this movie. So the audience really isn't loving the movie either all that much. But, we'll see when I see the movie. I think it's definitely, if Craven and Venom 3, if they don't do well critically, and look, the Venom movies have never done that well critically, but they make money. Craven, like, I can see Venom 3 making money. I don't know if it's going to do well critically. Like I said, the first two didn't do that well critically. But I think Sony, if Craven and Venom 3 don't do well, I think Sony needs to just rethink the whole idea of this universe without Spider-Man, because I only think this was a good idea from the start. And, I mean, maybe it had some potential, but they gotta make better. Again, I haven't seen them Matter Web. I'm just going on what I heard. They gotta make better movies right now with this universe. And I think Craven and Venom 3 are gonna be, like, the final nails in the coffin if those don't do well. Like, Matter Web it bombed bad from what I saw, from what I read online. And look, I'm not happy when movies do bad, but I also think sometimes, this also tells studios that, you gotta make better movies. Like, I remember seeing an article from Matter Web where, like, even people who thought it was okay, I think that people are just tired of mediocre. And this is also, to me, a great example why it's not comic book movies people are tired of. The people are tired of terrible or mediocre comic book movies. They want, I saw an article saying cookie cutter movie. I don't think people accept those type of comic book movies anymore. You gotta make a comic book movie that's great now. Otherwise, people aren't gonna go back to repeatedly see it. And that's with any type of movie right now, I think. I think people are just, they're just tired of mediocre comic book movies. Not comic book movies, but mediocre comic book movies. So, I think Matter Web's just done for at the box office. The next thing I want to talk about is that Dune Part 2 is obviously coming out in a few days. I can't wait for that movie. That's where the movie season starts for me personally. Like, this is the first movie of this year where I'm like, okay, I want to see it in the theater. Right now, the box office projections is saying 80 to 90 opening, and that's going to make 170 in this weekend, counting the opening at the North American box office and internationally. I could definitely see it doing that. I could see it exceeding expectations, because based on the fantastic word of mouth I've heard about this movie, based on the fact people are so excited to see the story, and it's a popular book series. I mean, the first Dune movie, it was released on streaming service and theaters at the same time. It made slightly over 400 for a movie that was released on a streaming service and theaters at the same time. I think people have discovered that movie more, and with the popularity of the Dune books, I think people are just so excited. I think the trailers have done a great job of hyping this movie up too. So I think this movie is going to make a big opening. I think it's going to be really the thing that's going to get people to go, okay, this is an event movie. This is something we need to see in the theater. Because that's the thing about movies right now, is that you need to do a great job of marketing a movie and getting people excited for the movie. And from what it sounds like with the reviews, that Dune Part 2 is one of those movies you gotta see in a theater. So I think this is great to hear, and I can't wait for this movie. Like, definitely see it in theaters. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Crow movie put out a picture, the new Crow movie with Bill Skarsgard, to reveal what he's going to look like. And I'm indifferent towards it. Now, I will say this. I don't really get excited by, like, set photos or reveal pictures of how the characters look in the movie. Like, what gets me excited for a movie is the cast, director, and most importantly, the trailer. Those are the three things that gets me excited for a movie. And Bill Skarsgard is the reason I'm excited for this movie. When it comes to the look, I'm just going to say this. It reminded me of Jeto's Joker look. And look, that doesn't mean that's bad or good. Because, I didn't like Jeto's Joker look in the Joker movie. He's the only Joker I don't like. when it comes to its just overall performance and the look of the character in that movie. But I'm indifferent towards this look. It's one of those things where it's like I love Brandon Lee's version of Eric Draven of Crow so much, and he has this iconic look to that character in the original movie that it did throw me off the look of this Crow in the picture. Again, it's a set picture though, and sometimes set pictures don't always look great. Like I have to see how it looks in the context of when I actually watch the movie and I see the actor moving around and all that. But I will also say this: I would give him this, is that the look for the Crow with Bill Skarsgard definitely stands out. I will say that it definitely looks different than Brandon Lee's Eric Draven version, because I'm one of those people, when it comes to remakes, I don't want to see a beat for beat remake. It was the Mean Girls movie, which I'm going to put out a review for that today. I know it's based on a musical, but plot wise, it was beat for beat the same plot as the original. And the one thing I can at least say about the Crow, based on this picture so far, is that Bill Skarsgård is definitely going for a different look with the aesthetic of the character. And I do give him credit for that so far, is that at least they're not trying to just make him look exactly like the Brandon Lee's version. And I know there's a bunch of Crow comics. There's been different Crows in the comics. So I don't know, maybe they're borrowing elements from there too. Like I said, don't read any of the Crow comics. But I will give him that. They're definitely going for a different look and trying to make it look unique for this version of Crow from the Brandon Lee version. I just hope this movie ends up being good. Bill Skarsgård is the reason I'm excited, because he's a fantastic actor. I think he's a great choice to play Eric Draven. And since we haven't seen a version of that character since the original outside of the TV show, like all the sequels with different Crows, I think this movie has a lot of potential, and I just be better than the sequels. If you can be better than the 3 sequels, I'll be happy. So hopefully this ends up being a great Crow movie, because the original Crow movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's not just a great comic movie; it's just a great movie. It's a movie that sticks with you. It's iconic. So I really hope this is one of those Crow movies that, if it can be good, I'll be happy. If it can be better than the 3 terrible sequels, I'll be happy. But based just on this review picture, so you can go find online, look for the first review of the Crow movie. You can find a picture online of Bill Skarsgård in the Crow makeup and everything. Based on this picture, it doesn't make me any less or more excited. And overall, the look of the Crow, I'm indifferent towards. I gotta wait to see how it looks when I see footage of him in motion, the makeup and everything on. But for right now, the picture, I don't feel either way on it right now. So that's all the movie news today. Until next time, movie fans.